What's up, guys? All right, we are going to be talking about the pentatonic, how and why. A lot of my students that are getting into the pentatonic, they just don't know how to use it. And what I want to do is I want to tackle a lot of the different ways that people are using, guitar players are using the pentatonic without you having to get years and years of learning blues, rock, shred solos to finally say, oh, I kind of get it now. So this video is definitely for beginners to intermediate, and some of these exercises I do use with my more advanced students. If any of this video moves too quickly, pause it and work on whatever concept I'm getting into for as long as you need to, and then move back. I just don't want to go, I don't want to do like a 45 or an hour video or do like a half an hour video on each one of the small concepts. I want you guys, this is about you kind of taking the concept and using it on your own rather than me tabbing out, you know, a Stevie Ray Vaughan solo and just having you play along with me. I'd rather just teach you guys these concepts. So the major thing that we're getting into, and I have a whole other video about it, so I'm not going to get too much into it, is our rhythmic core. Now that is going to be the basis of everything, all right, and it's our repetition. We hear it all the time in pop music, we hear it all the time in classical music, we hear it in shred guitar players like Steve Vai and Joe Satriani. It's why we love their playing and their gymnastics. So let's just start there. When I have a lot of students that'll come in and they won't know where to go with their solos. It's a lot of... So that's like the first syndrome. It's kind of like a repeating eighth note that goes nowhere, and they never even stay on a note for longer than an eighth note, and they never stay on the same note twice. They just keep moving around. So repetition seems to be a problem. So what I'll have my students do actually is if they're not ready yet, even if they're more advanced, if they're not ready yet and the guitar is screwing them up, I just have them clap out simple phrases and repeat them. So I'll have this tempo and they'll do, have them do 4, and then another one. And you would be surprised at how many of my guitar students lack that ability, even as simple as it sounds. And the reason is they're trying to attack the guitar solo from this outside kind of crazy, you know, I need to add more and add more basis, and it really, that is the core. If that's not there, nothing else is going to help you. Now this is the next step, is adding finally the guitar into it. So we're going to be using our A pentatonic, and once we get into guitar playing, I'll just play something like this, and they're only allowed to use the 5th fret of the bottom string. Alright, that what I just played for you is a lot closer to some of the blues and rock solos that we all love, rather than the, right? There's no direction in there. So what we do is we now take that basis, let's move it around. You can move it around the pentatonic as much as you want, pick whatever note you want, and just get into that phrasing. What we're gonna do is we're just gonna add one more note now. This is usually what happens. Phrasing, but for some reason repeating the same note is something that everyone avoids. So keep that in mind. Now you're starting to build an idea. You can hear those phrases repeating, and I usually do a little tag on the end. You can hear those phrases repeating. And they're not getting old yet. I want you to do that until it starts getting really, really annoying, just because it's training a part of your ear and your musicality that you're not quite used to yet. And then take it, now we can add a 3rd note in there. So I just added both 8 on the bottom and 8 on the 2nd string, and then have my 5th fret. Taking that wherever you want. to hearing those phrases. That's going to be the first part. Now you can spend a lot of time on that, and that ends up being rhythmic phrasing, our repetition, and also our spaces. We want to give each one of those motifs a little bit of space to breathe. Just like, you know, if I come in, same thing. It's just not going to sound that good, and it's going to go nowhere. It sounds like a car drifting off the highway. There's no direction. So now, let's get into the notes and why you're hitting them in the pentatonic, all right? So for you guys that know the pentatonic really well, the 5th fret on the bottom string and the top string, my 6th string and 1st string are the root notes, as well as on the 4th string, my 7th fret, okay? So you get this. I'm sure that you guys know that. Some of you might not, but now we're gonna get into the reason that you're hitting certain notes. So I want you to pick let's pick 3 notes, 3 pitches, and up to a 5-note phrase, and I want you to end on one of those notes, okay? I'll do my first one, I'll end here. So something super duper simple. I'm gonna pick the same 2 notes, 8th fret and 5th fret. All right, I'm gonna go. And then change it now. Change the rhythm completely. Adding another note if you need to. So that's going to start now. This idea when if I play that against the bass note, it sets that really nice tonic. Okay, as they call it. It's our home bass. It's like everything is relieved. It's our release. So when you get those phrases that end on the home bass note, all right, now for some of you might want to pause here and just work on that for a while. Let's start getting into why you're hitting the home bass note and why you want to build tension beforehand. You want the listener to want that note, all right, want that safety note. So how do you make them want it? You build up a little bit of tension. So now the most tense way is to get close to it, but not quite. So in our scale, all of the notes that are on either side of the root note are going to be our tension notes, okay? So if that's our root note, all right, the note right next to it, next in the scale, that's going to be our tension note, 8th fret. Now we go through the scale. Now this 7th fret of our 4th string is our root note. So 5th fret, the note behind it in the scale, on the 4th string, and then 5th fret on the 3rd string, the note ahead of it in the scale is our tension note. And then same, when we get there, our root note, the note behind it, the 8th fret on the 2nd string, and then the note ahead of it, the 8th fret on the bottom string, are our tension notes. Pause there and just learn that or write that down, chart that out. If you need to, go back and just listen to that little section. Now the reason is, what I want you to do is pick a nice, simple phrase. I'm going to show you a bunch on a few parts of the pentatonic. Just picking a phrase, and I want you to land on one of the tension notes. All right, now instead of one of the bass notes that we did before, one of the tension notes. So something super duper easy, 2 notes now. I'm just going to do 2 at first. Right, that's it. All right, I'm going to exaggerate it so you can kind of play along. It starts on the 8th. Get this up here. All right, now I'm going to take that same exact phrase and I'm just going to add the root note at the end. So now we have. Take it down. I'm going to start incorporating maybe the 8th fret of the 2nd string. All right, same idea. Phrase 1, and then I added two notes, but just adding the root note at the end. Now let me move to the middle of the pentatonic. Same deal. I'm going to start with the 7th fret of the 3rd string, and I'm going to go 7, 5. And then 7th fret on the 4th string is going to be my root note. So I'm going to go. let me now apply it so you're not just kind of playing these like somewhat bland sounding licks. And I'm gonna show you how you can take that concept and add so much to it, but without that concept, you're not gonna be able to add much on top of it, okay? So check this out. That whole thing is one rhythmic phrase. And to a lot of players that are just starting and their ear isn't trained to this stuff, they're going to think it's just rambling. So ending on a tension, ending on a home bass note. Ending on a tension, ending on a home bass note, and keeping the rhythm generally the same for 4 phrases, and then moving it forward, okay? I really want you guys to try that once all the past concepts come in hand, and you can just do 4 phrases in this part of the pentatonic, 4 phrases in the middle, and then 4 phrases on the bottom of the pentatonic, just to start getting used to it. That is going to be how you navigate yourself through the pentatonic. That has everything in it that you guys need. Just find yourself a good backing track on YouTube. There's a million. I do all my stuff in A when I'm teaching, so just find like an A blues or an A rock backing track or slow blues, whatever it is. And I really want you guys to dwell on these little motifs and these little sections. The reason is for now, like we were saying, sounds at first, and then once everything kind of gets chained together, if you don't want to leave that space as much, that's when it starts moving into a little bit more of a rock feel. That phrasing is still going to be there, and it's going to have that kind of excitement. Still, every single one of those things was thought out. There was a reason that I played the rhythm, there was a reason that I landed where I landed, and there's a reason that I went where I went from there, and it's building on that core. You will be surprised. At first it's going to sound a little tedious. You will be surprised at how quickly this moves along, even for some of you beginners. And if you are beginning, this is a great place to start. If you guys are just kind of running into the usual, like, I don't know where my solos are going, another exercise to really get into, you can bring that into where you're playing is now. So let's stop there. Let me know if you guys have any questions. There's a lot of information that this 14-minute lesson, you could potentially pause and work on for days and months. There's so much dimension to it. So that is going to be how to use the pentatonic, how to navigate why we're playing what we're playing rhythmically, why we're playing what we're playing pitch-wise. And then the next thing is just going to be adding our dynamics in there, which is a whole other ballgame, which is great. Now you have all of these phrases and all of these note choices, which are going to be an endless vocabulary for you to use. And then once you are able to add all of these dynamics to it, it's going to just explode your playing, and you can just like play forever without peaking, without kind of getting lost. All right, guys, any questions, any comments, please subscribe, DM, hit me up on Instagram, whatever. I'm always kind of pumping out these lessons for what you guys are interested in. So we'll do a part 2 for this. Once you guys comment and say, hey man, I did it, I want to learn more. Thanks, guys.